because there's a big difference between listen to someone's voices and text. I think when you want to talk with someone that is like dear to you, you should like listen to their voice and if you possibly watching their face, because you never know what's going to happen. But regarding that, man, like you don't need to ask people how they are all the time, because you go to social media and you see everything. Like everyone posts every day something. So it's like even hard to have like conversations with people nowadays, because you just see everything online, you know? Like, how was your Sunday? Oh, you won a championship. Yeah, it's on Instagram. I don't need you to tell me. I can see that. You know what I mean? Just like one of those things that social media changed. But
it's like you achieve something on a Saturday, like winning a championship, and instead of them getting your perception of what it was like, they've already got their own, because they've seen it on TV or a screen, and that's it. There's no conversation to be had. I guess that's how things have changed. I've got to ask you, growing up in Portugal, how did wrestling come about for you? Like, what was your first experience? Like, how did you come about it? Was it TV?
Yeah, it was TV. Regarding this, the question that you asking me, I'm going to release a documentary about my wrestling career. I did a preview for a Portuguese page called SmackDown, but we changed a bit the documentary, like the quality as well. It was a bit forced, because like we had 2 weeks to do it, but during quarantine everyone is away, so everything is done via online, and we want to make sure it fits what I wanted to transmit as a wrestler, as a professional wrestler. So in like a week's time or 2 weeks' time, it's going to be available in every social media at Baltazar_207 on Instagram and Twitter, and on Facebook is Baltazar207. So people will be able to see it, and it kind of tells the story of my character, which is a lot who I am as a person as well. And in case you don't know what my character was before, and you don't know any of my work, you can literally watch those 10 minutes and like learn tons about me. But answering your question, which is something that I said in the documentary, my first moment watching pro wrestling that I really remember vividly was Randy Orton won the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam from a gentleman, and on Raw. He was celebrated with Evolution, and I remember watching like Triple H, Batista, Randy Orton, and Ric Flair. I remember vividly watching these guys in the ring, full of people around them, and a lot of noise, and I didn't know what that was. But it wasn't boxing, and I think boxing was super boring. I didn't have time to watch boxing. Like, I didn't understand why men have to fight with gloves. It was really weird for me as a kid, and I was like 9, 10 when this happened. So I was watching on the TV, and it was the moment where Triple H goes thumbs up, thumbs down. And I just, like, as a kid, I remember, man, as a kid, I was looking at the door of my mom's room and at the telly, because I want to make sure no one will come, because that was so aggressive. And as a kid, like, I was enjoying it. I found it was like, what is this? I don't know what this is, but, you know, it had a different vibe to it, and it was so captivating to me. So I realized that every Monday during dinner, that show will pass on TV. So what I keep doing after that was, like, I asked my mom if I could have like dinner early. And back in Portugal, my family was very, dinner is at 8. Every time I ate, and the show started at 8, and I was like, and this was a time where you couldn't go back on the TV, you know, if you didn't see it, like, you lost it. So she allowed me to do it. I remember this was during the summer, and that's when I started watching wrestling. And man, it was amazing. Wrestling was so cool back in the day. As a kid who doesn't know anything about it, and you have to understand, like, we don't have, like, countries like Spain and France and Italy, they double the voices of the wrestlers. They put someone speaking for them in their own language. In Portugal, we had subtitles, so everything was authentic, right? Like, I could listen to, like, JR and Triple H, and I could really listen to those guys, and I was like, man, English is a great language. Even though I didn't know anything, I was just so, you know, my eyes and my brain were like, what is this? What is this world? Is this real? Does this man exist? And this was done without internet, so I didn't know anything, you know? Wrestling was like changed my life on that moment. I was just like, we didn't even have like Raw and SmackDown. We had Raw on Monday, and Friday night, 11 p.m. we had Velocity.
Do you remember Velocity? Yep, I do remember it. Yeah, it's like an hour little show, highlights.
Yeah, and like it didn't have the big characters of SmackDown. We had what? I think like Matt Hardy appeared, the V1, yeah, I think the biggest star they had was like John Cena, Doctor of Thugonomics, and I was just like, this is so cool, and it felt like something I shouldn't be doing because it was 11 at night. You know what I mean? And like I would always like sneak on my mom's room, like switch on the telly so I could watch it, and it was amazing and wrestling was great. And then yeah, eventually, find a wrestling school in Portugal, start training, and had a chat with some people there, and they say, hey, you should try and go for it. And I was like, fuck it, save the money that I'm here.
I've got to ask now, the culture in Portugal is Portugal, like you said about a wrestling school. How easy was it to find a wrestling school in Portugal at the time, like where you were? Is it quite an accessible thing in Portugal, or is it a very niche market?
Very niche market.
Yeah.
Still to the moment, still to the day, you have only 3 wrestling schools.
Wow.
And before quarantine, I believe only 2 of them were like working. One of them is really old. It's called APW. It's like the main company in terms of like it's been in the business for the most amount of years. And they are in the south of Portugal. And like it's just not a big thing, like 20, 30 people on the crowd, But when I debuted for them, which you can see on the documentary, it was in front of 3,000 people. Now imagine making your debut in front of 3,000 people. This as a singles wrestler, right? I had the chance to come to the UK even before I did anything in Portugal and like do some rumbles for a guy called Mad Dog. I don't remember his company, but it was I didn't consider that like a proper debut, because it wasn't like a thing. But back in Portugal, man, a proper match, 3,000 people. That was like, whoa, this is cool. This is cool, but it's a very small market. Portugal is not known for wrestling at all. I think the biggest point that Portugal is known for wrestling, to my knowledge, was like probably Killer Kelly being in WWE, NXT UK. He opened a lot of doors. A lot of media was talking about her. Back in the day, wrestling was in TV. We had the show in TV, but like problems happened and it didn't went forward. I think they did like 6 episodes and it got cancelled. But it was never a big thing. Football is the main sport.
It's the main, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Fair enough. And was you into other sports growing up as well? Like, was there any other sports that you enjoyed doing or playing? Or was it?
I used to play tennis when I was a kid. That was the first sport I really played, and I went to do like championship tournaments and stuff like that. That was really cool. And badminton, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah. So that was like the 2 sports I did as a kid. That was pretty much it. I was into soccer, but I wasn't like the crazy guy. If Portugal played, I enjoy watching.
You watch.
But what was like the Benficas and the Sportings of life, I never was like a fan of it, mostly because I was grown with my when I was a kid, I lived with my grandmother, so I was raised by a woman, and my mom, my grandmother, and my aunties. So I do have a dad, but they split when I was a kid, so I never had like a parental figure, like soccer and like working out and gym and all of those stuff, like they will be more implemented by men than women back in the day. Because I didn't have that in my early days. I don't think I graduated to it.
Yeah, no, I get you. And obviously, like going forward, making debuts in the UK, how did all that come about to the point where you now are pretty much, stationed in the UK? How did that decision come around, and how did that come about for you?
It was realizing that we all have just one life, man, and we need to do the things that make us happy. Like I look at my family, and my family is great. I have a great family, but their mentality of like finish school, get a job, create a family, it was something that it didn't make sense for me. Like, why should I do that? Like, why? Like, give me a reason. And the reason was always like, because that's what we do. And I was like, I don't want to do that.
I've heard that before.
So like, and as a kid, like growing up, like wrestling, I think everything in my life, like going out with my misfits, going to the gigs, going to the concerts, I just felt like alive. And wrestling really changed my life. because I was a very shy boy, like a very, very, very shy kid. Like I couldn't talk to girls. Like in class, I was always the last one putting my hand in the air. I was just really shy. I never had like confidence or anything. So wrestling, more specifically, like my last like 3 years of school. This was like 2011 to 2014. That's when like CM Punk did the best in the world's character. And when he did that, I was, oh man, like my life changed. My life changed because I saw this guy who didn't look like any of those guys. But since day one, since I saw him on ECW in 2006, I just like CM Punk. For me, like wrestlers were like, had like a good body. Didn't need to be massive, but like had a good body. Tattoos and long hair were my kind of wrestlers because I wanted to be like that when I grew up. And I already am, as you can see. But like that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. So man, when I always support Punk. Like I remember Punk doing the feud with Jeff Hardy about drugs, and Punk was a heel. Like no, Punk is the good guy. He's telling the truth. Like it makes sense. Why do you want to take drugs? They're bad for you, you know. And I couldn't like hate him because everything he says for me makes sense. So when he did the best of the world, man, that changed my life. Like I went to school. I remember from 9th grade to 10th grade, I went to school. Man, I started diet during the summer. I was a bit chunky, so I started diet. I got leaner. 10th grade, the first day you go back to school, like you see your class, you don't know anyone. I had a girl talk to me, and I was just like, CM Punk, you know, like the confidence was like
times have changed.
Yeah, exactly. Like I started working out and like taking better care of myself and being able to speak out, you know, because when you're shy, it's very difficult to speak out. And wrestling, I saw these guys speaking out all the time. And sometimes you're going to get punched in the face. That's fine. I don't care. At least they speak out and they take the pressure out of their chest. And I started speaking out, you know. If I didn't like someone, I said it. Like, I got so, like, in school, man, like, I got bullied when I was a kid. Like, because, like, really stupid things, but, like, I saw a bigger man, and if you're playing soccer, I wasn't afraid of, like, tackle him, because that's the game. I got beat up, man. I got beat up badly. Like, remember going to the bus, like, full of blood everywhere. But I was like, fuck it, you know? Punk took a beating. I can take a beating. So that was cool, man. That was so cool how wrestling influenced everything about me, you know? Everything, yeah.
And obviously, like, going, how have you found the UK wrestling scene since you've got here, in terms of networking and, you know, just that initial reaction to sort of like working on the permanent circuit? Is that you as a performer, especially being from Portugal, has that been an easy transition, or have you had difficulties along the way?
It was really hard to move to another country because till I was like 20, I lived with my grandmother. So from 20 to 21, I have to move to a new country where everyone speaks a different language, and I have to become independent. Literally, this is what an independent wrestler does. It's very easy to be independent wrestler when you can live with your mom and your dad and they pay your bills and you can just wrestling, which is like, I would say, 80% of the wrestlers right now in this country. But when you have to come, you have to be able to speak the language. Find a job, but you have to speak the language.
It's hard.
It's hard, man. My first month